Daniel sat in his dimly lit office long after everyone else had left, the glow from his computer screen casting shadows across piles of paperwork. Once again, he felt the crushing weight of obligations pressing heavily on his shoulders. On the surface, Daniel appeared successful, good salary, prestigious title, respect from colleagues. But inside, he was quietly drowning, chained to a career and personal relationships that drained him of every ounce of happiness. Each morning, Daniel woke with the hope that today would be better, only to have it eroded by relentless demands, unreasonable expectations, and endless conflicts. Friends often told him to just walk away, to find something healthier. Yet the thought terrified him. Wasn't walking away just another form of failure? One evening, staring numbly at his inbox filled with unanswered demands, Daniel felt something deep inside finally snap. The realization hit him like a tidal wave. Holding on to these toxic relationships and unfulfilling career paths wasn't strength, it was weakness. Perhaps he thought there was real power and wisdom in walking away. Little did Daniel know, embracing the wisdom of walking away would soon change everything he knew about life, strength, and personal freedom. The following weekend, Daniel met an old college mentor, Robert, for coffee. Robert, now retired, had always been someone Daniel admired, wise, calm, and effortlessly confident. As they chatted, Robert noticed the tiredness in Daniel's eyes and gently asked how things were going. Almost without intending to, Daniel poured out everything, the exhaustion, stress, feeling trapped in situations he couldn't seem to escape. Robert listened intently, then leaned forward and asked softly, "Have you ever considered the wisdom of walking away?" Daniel paused, puzzled by the phrase. "Walking away? You mean quitting? Isn't that just weakness?" Robert smiled knowingly, shaking his head. "Sometimes," he began slowly, "walking away is the strongest and most courageous decision you can make. It's not quitting, it's reclaiming yourself. It takes real strength to recognize when a situation no longer serves your life." That's true clarity. Daniel sat quietly, absorbing the words. For the first time, he saw his own fears clearly. He had been equating endurance with success, never realizing that the true cost was his own happiness and peace of mind. That evening, Daniel couldn't shake Robert's words. Could there truly be strength and wisdom in knowing when to walk away? The question stayed with him, planting the seed of a profound realization. Over the next few days, Daniel wrestled deeply with his mentor's words. The thought of leaving behind the career he'd painstakingly built and relationships he had clung to out of habit terrified him. Doubts circled his mind constantly. What if he was making a mistake? What if he regretted walking away? But deep within, Daniel also felt something new, a quiet voice of certainty, whispering that perhaps his greatest act of self-respect would be to finally let go. To better understand these feelings, Daniel began writing down the pros and cons of staying versus leaving. As he wrote, it became painfully clear that fear, rather than fulfillment, kept him bound to his current situation. He had convinced himself that persistence was strength, but now recognized it as avoidance of genuine growth. The real bravery, he realized, lay in the willingness to embrace uncertainty in pursuit of authentic happiness. Armed with this new clarity, Daniel acknowledged that holding on to his toxic environment wasn't protecting him, it was hurting him. The time had come to face his fears directly and reclaim his own life. Though uncertainty loomed ahead, Daniel was now determined to trust that walking away would be his first true step toward personal freedom. With newfound courage, Daniel made a decision he'd long dreaded but now embraced with conviction. He would resign from his job and set clear boundaries in his relationships, signaling to himself and the world that his emotional well-being was finally his top priority. Daniel took a deep, steadying breath as he stepped into his manager's office, resignation letter in hand. His heart beat rapidly, but beneath his nerves lay an unmistakable sense of calm resolve. As he handed over the envelope, he felt as though a massive weight lifted from his shoulders, replaced by a newfound sense of freedom and relief. Surprisingly, his manager seemed neither shocked nor angry, simply nodding with a mixture of understanding and quiet respect. As Daniel walked out of the office building that day, he realized he had feared judgment that never truly existed. Instead, by finally acknowledging the wisdom of walking away, he had earned respect, most importantly, his own. He applied the same courage to his personal relationships, gently but firmly distancing himself from toxic friendships that drained his energy. Each goodbye was challenging, but Daniel found unexpected strength in setting boundaries and prioritizing his own happiness. That evening, Daniel stood on his balcony, watching the sunset with an overwhelming sense of peace. He had no immediate plan, no clear roadmap, only the profound confidence that comes from aligning choices with personal values. For the first time in years, Daniel felt genuinely hopeful. certain that he'd finally stepped onto a path leading to authentic happiness and fulfillment. In the weeks following his courageous decision, Daniel noticed dramatic changes unfolding around him. With the burden of toxic obligations lifted, his world quickly expanded. Instead of dread, he woke each morning with a sense of excitement about possibilities he had long overlooked. Opportunities seemed to appear effortlessly. An old friend reached out with an exciting new professional venture, aligning perfectly with Daniel's values and talents. He eagerly took the offer, discovering that genuine fulfillment came not from prestige or titles, but from meaningful work that resonated with his heart. Even socially, life felt rejuvenated. Without draining relationships consuming his energy, Daniel naturally gravitated toward new connections that lifted him up rather than pulling him down. These healthier friendships and relationships infused his life with fresh optimism and joy. Family and close friends soon noticed Daniel's transformation. "You seem different, happier, more like yourself," his sister remarked during dinner one night. Daniel smiled thoughtfully. He knew exactly why. He had discovered firsthand the transformative power and freedom that came from embracing the wisdom of walking away. His initial fears about letting go had vanished, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose, clarity, and emotional strength. Every step forward felt lighter, as Daniel fully embraced this new chapter of his life, grateful he had finally understood the courage it took to walk away and find himself again. Reflecting deeply on his journey, Daniel finally understood the profound truth he'd once overlooked. Walking away isn't an act of weakness, but an extraordinary demonstration of strength. He realized that true wisdom lies not only in knowing when to persevere, but, crucially, in recognizing when it's time to let go. Daniel discovered that the wisdom of walking away was rooted in courage, self-respect, and clarity, qualities he'd always admired, but never believed he possessed until now. He saw clearly that holding on to situations, careers, or relationships out of fear or obligation didn't represent strength. It kept him trapped in an endless loop of dissatisfaction. The powerful life lesson Daniel learned, and now lived, was that life becomes immensely richer when we dare to leave behind what no longer serves us. By making the brave choice to walk away, he reclaimed his sense of purpose, rediscovered his passion, and reconnected with authentic happiness. His story reminds us all that walking away isn't simply about endings. It's about creating space for new beginnings, healthier relationships, and meaningful opportunities. There's extraordinary power in knowing our worth, setting clear boundaries, and having the courage to choose emotional freedom over false security. Daniel's experience shows us vividly that the most profound act of strength is recognizing when to step forward into the unknown, fully embracing the freedom that comes from honoring our true selves.